Hey everyone, like I mentioned in the assignments, we're starting graphing a quadratic in vertex form today. So remember, standard form, what we'd been doing is y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. Vertex form is y equals a times the quantity of x minus h squared plus k. So vertex form is just like what it sounds like. The vertex is actually in the form. And so when you're given the equation like this, you don't have to do any math to find the vertex. It is just hk. So that means if it's a negative h here, you're going to write it as positive. If it was a positive h here, you'd write it as negative. So basically, what does this mean right here? Take the opposite of h when you're writing it as the vertex. K is whatever it's written as. So if k is positive, you write it as positive. If k is negative, you write it as negative. So I'm going to go through a problem asking you the same questions that we've been doing the whole time. So here's our example. First question, come on back from being blurry, is finding the, vertex. So again, you are not doing negative b over 2a. That is only for standard form. So vertex, I know it's h comma k. So remember, h is right here. What's in the h position? It's 3. So it's written as negative 3. So I'm going to write this as 3. Remember, it's the opposite of how it's written. And then your k, what's in the k position? It's 2. And I take the sign as is. So my vertex is at 3, 2. Ta-da! So just to reiterate this, if this said positive 3, I would write negative 3 here. And again, k doesn't change. If this said negative 2, I'd write negative 2 here. So it's the opposite for h, and take k how it is. All right, AOS, nothing's changed there. X equals 3. Let's see, our next thing, does it open up or down? So what I want you to note in the standard and vertex form, these A's are the same thing. So A still tells you if it opens up or down based off if it's positive or negative. So our A here, remember, is negative 1/3. So because it's a negative number, this opens down, just like we've been doing. And because it opens down, you have a max at your vertex of 3, 2. So again, I'm going through all the questions I've been asking you the whole time. The domain is still the same. We're still graphing quadratic, so you can put in any number and get an answer. Your range, you're doing that still the same way too. So because it opens down, its y is less than or equal to your y value of the vertex, so 2. Now, what's a little bit different this time is the y-intercept. So this time you can't just take the number on the end, because remember, that number on the end in vertex form is the y of the vertex. So this time you actually have to do out some math for the y-intercept. Now remember, when you're finding the y-intercept, x is 0. And why is that? Because if you are on the if you are on the y-axis, what is the value of every single x value on those lovely points that I just drew there? You should be telling me 0. X is 0 all along the y-axis. So that is why you're always putting 0 in for x when you're finding the y-intercept. So now I'm just going to simplify. So I'll show out every step. Okay. So now what is negative 3 squared? Negative 3 times negative 3 is positive 9. And now you're doing 9 times negative 1/3. That's negative 3. And negative 3 plus 2 is negative 1. So remember, you're writing the y-intercept as an ordered pair. It's the point 0, negative 1. Okay. X-intercepts haven't really changed either. I'm going to go up here. So for x-intercepts, remember you're putting 0 in for y, and you're solving for x. Oops, that was a 3. Okay, guys, so how it's written, we can't just go and do the quadratic formula or anything like that. You're going to want to take the approach of square roots. Ready? I'm running low on battery. Let's see if I can make it. I really hope I do. All right, so you are going to first subtract 2. Again, you're trying to isolate x. So next, you want to get x by itself. So hopefully you're going to tell me, hey, I want to get rid of this negative 1/3. So you're going to multiply by the reciprocal of negative 1/3. What's the reciprocal of negative 1/3? Negative 3 over 1, if you have to write it like that. Those cross out. I feel like this is going to be tricky for some of us. On the right-hand side, you're left with x minus 3 quantity squared. What's negative 3 times negative 2? 6. Hey, does this look like completing the square? Yeah, it does. Yay. You probably don't see that. Okay, so now to get rid of that squared, you're going to have to take the square root. So on the right, you get x minus 3. Remember, when you take a square root, you get two answers, positive and negative. So plus or minus 6. Last step is to add 3 to both sides. I'm going to pause this video and actually I have to stop it and start again. So I will start another video to finish this because my phone's going to die.